Welcome to our segment on mask wearing, which is part of an overall series on viral health and safety skills. I'm Julie Swanson, I'm the Life Skills Lady, and I'm joined by Amy Hooray, a licensed behavior analyst and a clinical director at Milestones Behavioral Services. Before we dive into mask wearing, I want to say that we're going to be going over the principles of shaping, reinforcement, and generalization. I also want to encourage you to reach out to your school team because you don't want to be teaching this differently than if from the folks who may be working on it at school. And also please consider an IEP goal for this skill since it's such an important viral health and safety skill, a new essential life skill. Okay, Amy, let's get right into it.
Hi, Julie. Thanks for having me. In today's world, there's many circumstances in which our learners are going to have to wear masks. And so this is a new skill that obviously our learners are not used to, and it's difficult for a lot of our learners. So the first thing we need to identify is, where is our learner? Where do they stand, in reference to wearing a mask? What happens when I ask my learner to put on a mask or I try to put a mask on my learner? What is the response? So are they saying no, absolutely refusing, pushing it away, or are they engaging in, bigger problematic behavior such as a tantrum or attempting to hurt themselves or hurt others? And so that's really, you need to identify where your learner is in reference to the end goal of wearing a mask for a longer duration. So to begin that process, one of the things you need to identify is something that's going to motivate your learner to want to wear a mask. And so reinforcement. And reinforcement is increasing or decreasing a desired behavior that is likely to occur in the future. So I need to identify with my learner, what is that item or what is that activity? Anything can be motivating for a learner. So is it a favorite juice, a soda? Is it a snack? Or is it, big bear hugs? Is it a big tickle? Is it a bump? I need to identify what's going to motivate my learner to put on a mask. So once I've identified where my learner is, I need to start where the learner is. I can't start at having my learner, expect my learner to put on a mask for 3 minutes when currently they are not even wearing it for 3 seconds. So it's very important that you start at the level where your learner is. And so once you've identified that, you want to start shaping, which is reinforcing successive approximations to the end target. Your end target for this skill is your learner wearing a mask for a period of time. So throughout the shaping process, I am going to reinforce small baby steps to the big end product of my learner wearing a mask. So to do that, I may start, so I'm going to start small. For this segment, I'm going to say that my learner currently does not wear a mask at all. So I may start with just showing my learner the mask, just having it on the table. Can they touch it? Will they touch it? Can they watch a video of me wearing a mask or somebody else wearing a mask? Will they listen to a story about mask wearing? When I leave the house, when I go in the car, when I get out of the car, I have to put on a mask. Just doing some of that pre-exposure to actually doing it may be a strategy for your learner. And all learners are different. It's very important to also understand that. So once my learner, let's use the scenario of he's no longer taking the mask off the table and trying to hide it on me so he doesn't have to wear it. So he's now tolerating the mask. So that's one small baby step. And I've reinforced him. I've had a party. I've given him his favorite drink. My next step would be to have it out for a longer period of time. So I'm increasing my expectation. The first expectation may have been 5 minutes. Now maybe I'm at 7 minutes. And so you keep slowly increasing the expectation of what it may be to get your learner to actually put on the mask. So maybe following it being on, maybe now the next step is the learner holding the mask just in their hand. They don't have to do anything else with it. And at each step, you want to reinforce them. You want to have that party. You are like super cool, high five. You know, you just really want to get excited and motivate them to get to your end target of wearing the mask for a long duration of time.
And when you praise the child, is it able to be specific language like you're wearing a mask? Can you pair it with being very specific about it as well?
It's always going to differ according to your learner, but
Sure.
absolutely you want to include the behavior that is the important piece. So, wow, look
Right.
at that mask. Look how handsome you look. Maybe show them, you know, a mirror and show them wearing a mask. Absolutely, can always
Yeah.
include the behavior that you're praising, reinforcing
Right.
for.
And if I could just sneak one thing in here, you know, as you said, we are living in a different time now, and in a previous time, it might be appropriate for a bear hug at school, but probably around mask wearing, it's probably not going to be a bear hug at
Sure.
school if we're wearing a mask at school. I just sort of picked up on that one, and
Absolutely.
of course, you know, but this is just we have to think differently now. So I just wanted to point that one out. Okay,
Absolutely.
go
And
ahead.
so you also want to so if you have a learner that is not engaging in wearing a mask, this is also something that's not going to occur overnight. And
Yeah.
so you want to practice it several times across the day,
Right.
in several different environments with several different people. And so that's where we talk about generalization. Generalization means that the learner can not only wear a mask with me, but they can wear a mask with you. They can wear a mask with their teacher. They can wear a mask with brother, sister, father, and they can also do it in different locations. So outside of where they were specifically taught to engage in the behavior of wearing a mask.
And I would imagine in that scenario that it's very important that all the people who are delivering the praise, the shaping, and the reinforcement are doing it in the same manner so that it's consistent for the child.
Absolutely. So if the current target is the mask just being out on the table, it's very important that my expectation is the mask is on the table for 5 minutes. Your expectation is that the mask is on the table for 5 minutes, not where dad comes or brother comes and says, oh yeah, leave it there for about an hour.
Yeah. So it sounds like baby steps, practice, keep incrementally upping the ante, praise. What would you think how would you wrap this up as to if I'm a parent, I'm a teacher, based on what you've said so far, what else?
I just think it's important to remember to start where your learner is. It's not going to happen overnight. And another thing to consider is there are many variations of masks out there. And so to also consider that, I didn't talk about that earlier, but there
Good
are.
point.
So maybe one of the motivating factors for your learner might be maybe a Spider-Man mask if you know he's into
Right.
Spider-Man. So really looking at your learner as an individual and
Right.
working.
You know, there are the ones that go behind the neck and up on the head, and then the ones that just go over the ears. And it's such a great point to consider which kind of mask is your child more likely to be successful with. So that's a really good point. I'm glad you mentioned that. Well, Amy, this has been wonderful. I know this is such an incredibly important skill for children and learners of any kind to have. And so we hope this has been helpful, and thank you.
Thank you.